Hello everyone and welcome back to another Leanademy video here on YouTube. I'm so super excited to be sharing this video. This topic is so interesting, but before we jump right in, I just want to say it's been a pleasure having you here this year in 2025. If you are interested in learning more about our Leanademy classes, please look at the link below. Or if wait until the very end, I'll have a QR code up that they'll take you right to our website. But we do have some course offerings out for 2026. I'm pretty excited to have those out there. All right, let's jump right in. But before I jump in, I want to talk about the evolution of production and services. So basically, I'm going to be looking at mass production all the way to lean production. The reason why this topic came about for me was because in the last year, I've seen this with a few clients where they seriously are operating in a more of a craft or mass production today, and it's still crazy to see that in the service environment. A lot of times we think about this in more of a manufacturing or wholesale type environment, but this is within services. I'm talking about banking, finance, accounting, even in a retail space, in mortgage and in SaaS. Any of those, I've seen so many, even we talk about all these technology things that we have today and all these different tools, but in theory, you're still operating in these different kind of silo productions, which really makes it hard to quantify when you talk about cost savings, when you talk about increasing sales. If you don't move into a more lean type production, then you're never going to obtain that operational efficiencies that you're looking for. So let's just dive right in here. So I want to talk about why does it matter today. So from craft, mass, and then lean production, why does it matter? Because today we want to make sure that we are moving into the 2026 and beyond, right? We talk about AI, we talk about technology, but you cannot actually implement any of those type of technology tools if your company is still in that craft or mass production. What you really need to do is move into a lean production. It is challenging with these type of organizations, because I have seen it where they've taken it onshore with some very knowledgeable people, and then they offshore this stuff, but then the offshore companies are trying to make it so the training doesn't take so long, so they can get people in and start doing these processes within a short amount of time, say like 20 to 30 days at the most, instead of taking a year to train somebody. That to me is like, I understand that when you're trying to offshore and when you have high turnover in your employees. But if we start to think about this in a true lean fashion, we need to actually put the human back into the process, back into the machines, so we can use those automations and those AIs that we're looking for. But more importantly, just moving into a lean transformation provides those operational flows, right? So when I think about things, this is what I'm looking for here, these lean transformation and benefits, right? I'm looking for operational flow, reduce waste, and empower employees so we do have a better service delivery. It is not always about moving fast. It is about moving fast, but with quality built in. And that's also then comes down to the importance of training. So here at Leanademy, we are all about training. But at the end of the day, the training, what we're looking for, a lot of times I will work with people to do, that's why I do a lot of white belt training, like especially for so people actually can understand, okay, I really need to figure out how can I reduce waste in my area? Or how do I create a better flow? Let's move on in. So what is craft production? So craft production originally was built came about, back in even before the Model T came out, right? So as we're thinking about cars and stuff, they were pretty expensive to build back then, but they were intelligent people building these mass things. So basically, craft productions involved with very skilled workers they handle the end-to-end task. They handle everything within that workflow. and they have very high ownership. And there's also a lot of personalized quality that these employees put in. While that is great to have, these type of like let's say like boutique consulting or specialized banking, or I've seen this also within the mortgage back office, or anything in the back office can actually fall into this type of thing. But the challenges that you run into that is you have very low throughput rate and high cost, right? Because you have very high skilled workers that are doing this, and it's hard to scale. And then the other thing here too is that the standard work is there, but it may not be the quality that you're looking for. Next up, we think about mass production. So mass production actually came about by when Henry Ford put together that Model T. He basically took the skill out of the worker. So the machines did most of the work and you had unskilled workers. Unskilled workers tend to be cheaper. So let's look at that today in a more modern world. So in services per se. So let's think about this mass production and services. Work is divided into narrow defined tasks by specialized teams. It's often offshore. We do that. A lot of people do that so we can increase throughput. But here's the problem with throughput. There is hidden costs and quality issues. I've seen it time and time again with either my consulting or with my students in the different industries. I don't care what industry you're in. But let's talk about in service. Let's talk about in the service here. It causes rework loops. Those hidden rework loops cost a lot of money. And then we're talking about error in inventories or longer cycle times. Okay, maybe or maybe we have shorter cycle times, but here, if you think about it, we have so much rework. It's really when you think about cycle time. Oh, we got it down to say we got cycle time down from looking at something for 45 minutes down to 15 minutes. Oh, that's great, but are you counting in the rework loops? The other thing here is that mass production optimizes local efficiency but fails to deliver end-to-end value, right? In those knowledge-intensive services. Most of your service type industries are very, very knowledge-intensive. So while most of your people onshore have the knowledge and they try to transfer that knowledge to people offshore, it's very hard to do that when you segment your work into specialized teams. So then now you can't do the cross-functionalization. Let's think about the banking here. If we offshore specialization increased throughput, but also led to quality issues. This leads to customer dissatisfaction, right? So here, there's some things I want you to think about. Now let's run into the lean production. Lean production, basically the core principles, right, is eliminating waste, improving that flow, and building quality at the source to increase efficiency. What we're doing here is we're empowering teams. That was my biggest thing through any of my training when I told my students, and I told my corporate clients or my corporate training clients as well, is that what I want you to walk away with at the end of the day is that your teams feel empowered, that your employees feel knowledgeable, that they can make the decisions that they need to make at the time where they're at in the process, so that if they see an error, they fix it. So that's where we start to think the teams own their outcomes. We use PDCA cycles for continuous problem solving. In this day and age, we want to create people that are problem solvers, especially with all this new technology that's coming out. The other thing that we get through Lean is that we're going to have a higher first pass yield, shorter cycle times, and then overall lower total cost into operations. So Lean and service operations really what it does is it consolidates tasks into cross-functional paths. I see it a lot of times onshore where we are creating those type of pods with my different clients or even my students, but then we're still doing it some type of mass production offshore. So it doesn't really work, if you ask me. It's basically we're setting up the standardizations, the POCIX, right, the mistake proofing, anything like that to help us in visual management, to help us get to that lean environment. This is where it's critical, and I hope this is helping people understand, because I do teach lean, the mass production, the craft production, and moving into lean. I do teach that in my white belt course that is free. So please, if you would like to learn more about that training, please click on the link below to go over to Leanademy. We have courses scheduled. Well, courses scheduled here is pretty soon for the first half of next year. But it is important. It is important to train your people. It is important for my students. I tell this to all my students. Training equips teams with skill to identify ways to analyze data and leave improvements effectively. So if your frontline workers understand Lean and understand Lean Six Sigma, they can just taking a white belt class gives them so much power. The biggest thing here too is we think about skill development, so it helps teams interpret metrics, solve problems, and adapt to processes that especially put process controls into place. We're also with that training, we have leadership training, which fosters a culture of daily management and employee empowerment for Lean success. At the end of the day, it's all about the employees when it comes to Lean. It's not leaders telling people what to do. But by doing this, if you invest in your people, you are sustaining on Lean improvements, which helps build a Lean Six Sigma program that's internal, that you'll get great results internally, but also externally as well. So this is where we're coming to the end of the video, but this is where I want to say today, I hope if you're an individual looking to start your journey, please click on the link below, or their next page will have a QR code. But what I want to say, if you do Lean Six training, it helps it helps your business if you need to sell this to your manager, but also the training will help you with your leadership. It'll help you with your career development as well. So there are practical implementation steps. There's operational excellence that you'll get out of here. All right, that brings me to the end, my friends. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are enjoying these videos, please either subscribe or like the video below. If you're interested in our training, check out our YouTube. Check out this QR code. Like I said, please subscribe to the channel if you really like this. Please let other people know about it. It's word of mouth. That's how we grow here. And I'm hoping you're really enjoying these videos.